Phil Taylor, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be given to us by Commissioner Ledford. Stand.
Let's pray. Father, there are times that you call us to intercede on the behalf of others. There are times to pray for the sick, the leadership, and for God's leading. And then there's times for us just to simply pause and give you praise and thanksgiving for every good gift that you have given us. God, I thank you for the men and women that are in this room that believe in prayer. I thank you that they take time to pause and to give you praise and thanksgiving. Father, this world needs peace. We need to be at peace with one another. And Father, we thank you that you sent your Son, Jesus Christ, to be our peacemaker. We thank you for the gospel of Jesus that reminds us of the peace that Jesus came into this world to bring us the possibility to live at peace with everyone. Father, I just pray at this season that the peace of Christ would rule in our hearts and that we would be thankful people. That, Father, we'd make every effort to live in peace with all men and to be people that recognize the holiness of Jesus Christ. We drive in this community and we see the light that reflects the light that you sent to this world, the light of Jesus Christ. It's in His name that we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Before the roll call, I'd like to say thanks to Gracie White for attending tonight. She's the assistant, one of the assistants to Congressman Fleischman, and thank you for coming. Call the roll, please.
Goins.
Here.
Slater.
Here.
Mason.
Here.
Ledford.
Here.
Rogers. Winters.
Here.
Beatty.
Here.
Hughes.
Here.
Alford.
Here.
Cry.
Here.
Blake.
Here.
Collins.
Here.
Gilbert.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
It's 13 present and 1 absent.
Thank you very much. I'd like to have a motion for the approval of the minutes. Second. Got a second for Commissioner Hughes. Call the roll, please.
Goins.
Yes.
Slater.
Yes.
Mason.
Yes.
Ledford.
Yes.
Winters.
Yes.
Beatty.
Here.
Hughes.
Yes.
Alford.
Yes.
Cry.
Yes.
Blake.
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
It's 13 in favor, none opposed, and 1 absent.
Thank you very much. At this point, we'll ask the mayor for his report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening, everyone. First of all, I have a resolution that I've passed out to everyone for the authorizes me to enter into a one-year extension of the monitoring contract at the landfill. If someone would care to make that motion, I would appreciate it.
I'll make it motion.
Commissioner Beatty, do I have a second? Second on Commissioner Hughes. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Goins.
Yes.
Slater.
Yes.
Mason.
Yes.
Ledford.
Yes.
Winters.
Yes.
Beatty.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Alford.
Yes.
Cry.
Yes.
Blake.
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
It's 13 in favor, none opposed, and 1 absent.
Thank you, I appreciate that. That was a budgeted item, by the way. A report on the SPCA project. Some of you may recall we were replacing insulation and putting a ceiling in the building out there, and that project was completed over the weekend. So if you're back in the SPCA building, you look up, you'll see a ceiling now instead of all that insulation that's been falling down for some time. So I'm happy to report that that's finished. I want to give you a report on insurance. You know, you hear a lot of, you might say, concerns, questions, complaints, whatever, about insurance. We worked really hard this year adding a fourth option to provide less expensive family insurance. Give you the results of all of that extra work. More people took option one, which is the Cadillac, than ever before. The same number of people continued to buy up and pay to go to the other hospital in Chattanooga. I guess that means they don't think our insurance costs enough. It did drop off a little bit in option three, but the interesting thing is option four, which gives you a prepaid, we pay for the membership to go to a walk-in clinic like everybody, a lot of people have been saying they wanted for years. That's offered this year as an option four, free. 8 people took it out of 650 employees. Lessons learned, you're not going to ever do away with those complaints. They're going to be there. We offer a Cadillac, and most people are taking the Cadillac. I don't blame them, but they continue to complain. Well, why don't you offer an option that has the free walk-in clinic? Well, we did. A good option, by the way, especially for younger adults with kids. Go to the clinic as many times as you want to, absolutely free, and 8 people took it. So remember that when you start hearing complaints next year at insurance renewal time. We mainly did it to prove a point. We've done that before, and that's usually the outcome of it. It's a good option. It'll still be there if they want to in the future, but it's set now for a year at least. I do have 2 other resolutions, but I'll wait on the appropriate committee to give their report, and then we'll have a resolution for them at that time. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mayor. Entertain a motion on the consent agenda. Doing second. Commissioner Winters on the second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Ledford,
Yes.
Winters,
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Alford.
Yes.
Cry,
Yes.
Blake. Collins.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
It's 13 in favor, none opposed, and 1 absent.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mayor.
you can go ahead and call that. I want to give one more report before you move on, if I could, though.
Go
Is that
ahead,
okay?
sir.
Adam, if you would, I know there's been a lot of questions, calls, concerns concerning some rate issue changes at the landfill this last week or so. So we've been talking with Republic, and Adam's going to give you an updated report on that. A little bit better than what was originally announced, but somewhat out of our control. But we have been talking to them. Adam?
First of all, I'd like to start with don't shoot the messenger. We had some conversations, as many of you know, and probably got complaints as well, about the change in policy for bags being dropped off at the convenience center. It was originally posted that anything 10 bags or less would see a charge of $20 beginning on January 1. We can also report that they will begin to take cash. That's also been an issue and a question we've talked about. They will begin taking cash effective January 1 also. We'd gotten a number of complaints in the office over the weekend. I'm sure you all have too. And so we initiated some conversation to just ask, first, what was the reason for the increase? $5 to $20 is a pretty steep increase. The response that we got back was twofold. One, the fee itself, the $5 fee, has not really been addressed in recent memory. Nobody had any record of going all the way back to Santec that it had ever changed. So it's been $5 for quite some time. The other issue is obviously inflation. They are looking at bringing on a full-time employee that will help, and so the cost to implement the cash policy was brought up as one of the reasons as well to raise. Asked for a bit of a compromise after a little bit of back and forth. What they've agreed to do is for really most of the folks that come in, the residential folks that come into the convenience center are just, it's mom and pop that don't have trash service, and they're dropping off 2, maybe 3 bags a week, right? So for 3 bags or less, it will stay $5, okay? From 4 to 10 bags, it will be $20. And if you're there and familiar with the convenience center, anything over 10, you're going through the scale and getting weighed and paying what it comes out to be anyway. So a little bit better, not quite so much sticker shock, at least for the majority of people that use it. Most folks come in there with just 2 or 3 bags a week, and so they'll continue to pay $5. 4 to 10, we'll see that $20 charge. All of this, of course, begins on January 1.
Along with taking cash. So the good news is they're finally going to start taking cash. The other good news is 3 bags or less, it's going to stay $5, but it is an increase for the 4 to 10. Any questions, comments?
Yes, Mayor, I have a question. Size of bags. Do they have a size?
It didn't specify, but traditional bags, garbage bags.
Taking cash, long time coming.
I don't know.
Anyone else on that? Commissioner Hughes?
Mayor Davis, I've heard that they were gonna take cash for several months and several years. Until I see it, I won't believe it. But thank you for talking to them, because I believe I've had more complaints about that than I have on anything in recent time. I have had a few complaints about odor coming from there, but I think most of it's been just due to weather. But otherwise, that was it. But thank you for working with them on that.
Any other questions? Just keep in mind, it's one of those things, we don't control a lot of these, but all we can do is talk to them, work with them, and hopefully come back with some resolve. And I think in this case we have. And they've been saying they're going to take cash. Now they're saying they are and gave us a date, so hopefully that'll be the case. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Sorry to interrupt you, but I forgot about that.
Oh, that's all right. That's very appropriate. I still remember August the 1st is going to be taking cash very vividly. And as far as the banner asked me for my thoughts today, and they still stand. Nothing changes, okay? Let's see. We got reports from the committees and our districts. We'll start on the left with Commissioner Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have anything other than one item. Had a constituent from the 6th District off Carl Whitmire Road called me that the road department had cut a tree for them and left it on the side of the road, and called me back the next morning and said they were out there cleaning it up. So I called Tom and told him great job. So just kind of letting you know that Tom's doing a great job. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Everything's doing well in the 6th District. I also had a few calls on the price change at the, I appreciate you, Mayor Adam, for checking on that and letting us know. That's all I have. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Let's see, Commissioner Slater.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing to report tonight.
Commissioner Goins.
The 5th District's getting some more sidewalks on Wildwood Avenue. That's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Thompson.
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of committee reports for the commission. First, the Building and Land Committee met recently and discussed the fire protection for the Archives building. After much discussion, we decided to have a meeting at a Archives building with the fire chief and mayor to consider all protection options. I will announce the next meeting when the date is confirmed. The next thing, the septic system cost sharing ad hoc committee met last week and reviewed the mayor's proposal. First, we voted to recommend entering into a contract with Southeast Tennessee Resource Conservation and Development as proposed by the mayor to administer the program. We also voted to split the cost 80-20 with the property owners. We voted to use the full $750,000 for septic repairs as previously earmarked, and to pay the administrative fee from the sewer bucket up to $115,000. The committee also voted to require a minimum of 2 bids for each project and to establish a maximum cost cap per project at $20,000. All of these recommendations are included in the resolution before you, creating and allocating funds for the septic repair program and authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with RCD to administer the program. I move to approve this resolution.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Commissioner Gilbert on the second. Any discussion? Commissioner Hughes? You put that in the form of a motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second on Commissioner Gilbert. Any discussion, please? Any other? Commissioner Winters?
Could you explain the expansion, how we're expanding?
Hang on a second, I've got the speaker on. Anyway, to add the sewer system, it was just no more than if you have a failing system, you have no other land to perk it with. If sewer is present, then TDEC was going to require you to hook to sewer.
Gotcha. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I don't know either.
Other comments, please?
I'd like to add one thing to that. I talked to Old Core Utility District, in which, in their area there, they're the one that has the sewer in that area. And, when it comes to hooking up sewer, out 64 and a lot of areas out there, why, he told me that it'd cost somewhere around $5,400 to hook into sewer. But if you want it hooked all the way into the home, which you need electricity, when you hook their sewer up, you have to have electricity, and hook it all the way into the home, well, you're talking around $7,400. So it's a lot cheaper if you've got a problem and got sewer there to hook up to sewer than it is to repair the septic tank. So, that's something we need to look at there.
Commissioner Mason?
That was my original last week when we met for the 20,000, and after we checked this week with different folks, I think 15,000 will more than get everything we need.
Any other comments, discussion? Call the roll, please. Wait, hold.
Commissioner Hughes, and this would be only if their septic can't be repaired, they could use this money to tie on to the sewer.
Yes, that's
It's
the
not
reason.
just to tie on to the sewer because they want sewer.
No, that's the reason I put the word if it's required. So it has to be required by TDEC before it can be done.
Mayor, is that allowable?
We will assume it is. I don't know. But if TDEC, what he's saying, if TDEC comes in and says, you can't repair your system, your lot's not big enough, there's no way that it can be fixed, and you've got sewer right down the road, that's what he's talking about. I don't know. What, you want to say something, Am? You can.
I don't know that we can confidently tonight say that that's allowable. I don't think it's a problem when it comes to the ARP rules, but that's essentially bringing, right now our discussion is between the resident or the property owner, RC&D, and Bradley County. That brings a utility company into the equation. And so I understand, I'm just trying to think the best way to do it. I understand the principle behind it, but TDEC the contractor that gets the quote would have to say, this is beyond repair. The resident would then know, I guess with working with TDEC, that sewer is close by. TDEC may not know that, but I don't know. It just, plus I don't know that RC&D would agree to manage that piece of it if it became between a utility company and the property owner. I don't know.
It's not that we're against it, it's just a twist that I'm not sure how it would work with RC&D, and of course, it's only if TDEC says it's unfixable, which is probably not gonna be that often, but if and when that comes up, I'm just thinking out loud, I don't know.
Well, Mr. Chairman,
Chair, Commissioner Winters.
you would think if the septic tank will not work, it can't get it fixed, then this is a great opportunity to go get it done. So with the if in there,
Well, would it
It's
work
best
if
to
you
see.
approve it, if you all are in favor of doing it, approve it with that extra paragraph and let us see,
Okay.
because that's something that hadn't been discussed with RC&D. See if that's doable there, if they're willing to work with whatever utility that is to get that done, because that's an extra link that isn't in their scope right now. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have a problem with it.
That's why some of the constituents out there say that they're not fixing their septic tanks because they don't want to hook onto the sewer and their septic system won't pass TDEC. TDEC won't pass a permit to have their septic system fixed. So that's why they're not fixing their septic system.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Hughes.
if it's okay with the one that seconded, I don't mind to add a contingency onto that to have, for the ruling of TDEC to see what they feel about it, if it's okay with them.
And with RC&D.
And our,
Yeah.
yes,
Is that satisfactory, Commissioner Slater?
that way at least we can get this passed and start moving forward with it.
Does that satisfy you, Commissioner Slater? Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Is that right? And so that contingency is good with you? Okay, just making sure. Goins,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Ledford,
Yes.
Winters.
yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Alford.
Yes.
Cry,
Yes.
Blake.
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
It's 13 in favor, none opposed, and 1 absent.
Passed. Okay. Commissioner Thompson, it's still yours. Thank you. Commissioner Gilbert.
Everything looks good in the 4th District. I have a young lady, Jessica Hedgecock, that would like to speak for 2 minutes.
Tonight I'm here to suggest that you vote for Dan Rawls as Constable of the 6th District. And the reason why, I'd like you to listen. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. That may sound familiar to you, all of you. It is the preamble to the Constitution. And what's important about that is our founding fathers knew what type of men needed to be in charge of our communities. Not just people we knew or people we were friends with, but people who would get the job done. Men who wrote the Constitution were men of integrity. They weren't afraid of doing the right thing, even when things got very uncomfortable. Let's break down the preamble to see how Mr. Rawls fits the bill for the constable position. Establish justice, meaning to mediate between citizens. Mr. Rawls' resume supports this statement 100%. I'll quote a portion of the resume. An excellent working knowledge of Tennessee law, possesses the ability to remain calm and purposeful during conflict, the ability to de-escalate confrontations and keep the peace. Ensure domestic tranquility, meaning protect citizens. Mr. Rawls is a big guy. He's an alpha male. And Bradley County needs somebody like that. People don't want to mess with him. So it's somebody that can be loved and feared at the same time.
2 minutes are up.
2 minutes are up, huh? Thank you.
when the voting session happened about transparency, this is a perfect example of why people should get a point to speak before the voting session. We did
You
not
a-
have a work session
You
before,
asked me
sir.
for 2
Ma'am, you either
minutes.
accept-
I said 2 to 3, sir.
I was told 2. I either
May I have the extra minute that we discussed over the phone, sir?
I counted it up here, it's over.
I have this much left, sir. 30 seconds, we could stop
Something the
arguing and I could do
commissioner-
it.
Let her read it.
Go ahead and read it.
Thank you. Provide for the common defense. Conduct foreign affairs. Mr. Rawls has a servant's heart for Bradley County. If any other district constable or official needed his advice or help, I'm sure he would gladly serve. Promote the general welfare. Provide citizen services for citizens. Mr. Rawls already runs a constitutional class open to the public with no pay. Elected officials have also come to speak and campaign during elections. He does these things not because he must, but because he wants to help and he wants to serve. He already serves Bradley County above and beyond, and he isn't on payroll. Secure the blessings of liberty, promote prosperity. Mr. Rawls has a community mindset where he wants others around him to succeed. If the individual were to be struggling, he would find resources to help that individual succeed, and therefore it trickles down to make better change in the community. And one last reason, I think Mr. Rawls is the perfect fit for the constable position. Mr. Rawls has a clear record in this community of holding people accountable, even when it's very uncomfortable. So you can be sure that he will keep a higher standard of service as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all. All righty. Commissioner Winters.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 7th District is doing well. The 60 highway is moving forward. If you've traveled down that road, if you travel down at 245 and the two schools are moving, you know it's a challenge. It's progress in action. I do need to remind folks it's a 35 mile an hour speed limit in there. And when you come down the hill, I'm speaking to myself here, when you're coming down the hill, it's awfully tough not to go 45 and 55. And then you get to the 35 and you have to back up. So be careful. TDOT has been good to work with. The companies that work with them are local, and they are looking out for us there. Also, we have a new highway. It's called the Hopewell Highway. And for most of this commission, we were able to be there and inaugurate that beautiful 4-lane highway that's literally behind the school. There are parents that are breathing so more than they've ever for years. When they drop off their kids there, they know that when they come and get them in the afternoon, they can get on that highway and pick them up and not be in the, can't get to the school, and then when they get there, they have to fuss. So kudos to Dr. Cash and the team there, the principal, Elizabeth Kaler, that carried the load. Our chairman was very much involved, as this entire commission. We're a working commission. We with the school board, really take pleasure in that. The payoff for what we do, folks, is when you go on the line and do things that some in this room fought against. And when you do those things and you see children that stand up along the highway, the new highway, and say thank you, that's a payoff for what we do. When it was over, I go and start to leave, and I see the bus driver over there. And you were talking with the bus driver. The bus driver was one of your former students, Commissioner. Yeah, I'm a former teacher, yes. And while he was talking, I come by there, and I look at a second grade class that had worked all of that day working on a thank you sign for us. They're standing down there, and nobody came through there. And guess what this commissioner did? I went down and gave every one of them high fives, every one of them, because that's somebody's child. That's our constituents' children and grandchildren, and made their day to see elected officials like the ones that were there, and all of them did this. We went to see those kids. That's what it's all about there. It's great to live in this community, and that's all I've got, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Collins.
I appreciate the passion from Commissioner Winters, former educator, and the District 3 is doing great. Thank you. I want to extend, we miss Commissioner Rogers tonight. He's at home with his family and a newborn little girl. That was exciting for him, so we wish him and his wife and his new family nothing but the best. The Department of Education released within the last few weeks the report card for the state of Tennessee, the schools. It's a report card for our schools and the standing of our schools. And the number one question I received from being a part of the Board of Education here in Bradley County is, what in the world does this mean? And it's very confusing. It is very convoluted. But I want to take the opportunity to say how proud I am of our schools and our community, the teachers that we have, the support staff that we have in our district, in both Bradley County and Cleveland City. We have some tremendous educators, tremendous leaders, tremendous counselors, and individuals that work hard to make our schools a great place to be. So I'm very thankful for them and excited to be a part of that group. It was an exciting day at Hopewell to be a part of that, and the best part was to see the teachers and the kids so excited, and then, of course, the parents as they drove up and were a part of that to be able to come off that traffic. And I know the folks on Freewell Road are excited as well. So thank you very much for that recognition, Mr. Winters.
Mr. Chairman, we did get to drive that highway.
We certainly did.
All of us drove that highway on the way out.
4 lanes merged into
Mr. Winters may
2.
have went a little fast on that one. We had to keep him in line.
Thank you. You're very welcome. Commissioner Blake.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple of things. One, I'm glad that project, I'm sorry I wasn't able to attend that. That was one of the projects that we inherited in the 2014 class, because it had been going on for quite some time. Also, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to thank the Bradley County High School JROTC program. They came out this past Saturday when it was drizzly, cold, and they picked up 625 tires out there at Exit 20, continuing our tire cleanup. With that puts us at about over 7,035 tires that we've cleaned up. So we're getting close to a conclusion there. I think there's just a few thousand more, and the next scheduled cleanup, I believe, will be in January, but I'll let you know on that. So thank you to the future officers of the Army JRTC program for helping us out this past weekend. Also, Mr. Chairman, Finance Committee met earlier today, and we have a number of things to go over. The first, the Finance Committee voted to recommend authorizing the mayor to purchase the 2 new ambulances to replace some failing units. You have before you a resolution that the mayor has prepared. Resolution authorizing Bradley County Mayor to purchase 2 2022 GM 3500 ambulances for use by Bradley County EMS from Emergency Equipment Professionals Incorporated for a total amount of $328,952 for both ambulances. The mayor can give some more details here in a second, but Mr. Chairman, I put this resolution on form of motion. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Winters.
I'm sorry.
Mayor, you have any comments to make?
Well, for those of you that weren't able to be at Finance or watch it, what I explained to Finance today is we're as close to being fully staffed at the ambulance EMS as we've been in a long time. We're not totally there yet. We still have issues with sickness and people out on leave and so forth, but we're close to full staff. Well, the problem we have now is trucks. Not only are we having failing trucks, we have failure to get trucks that have been on delivery. And as I told them during the election, I've been accused of not planning for the future. But in last year's budget, a year and 6 months ago's budget, we budgeted for 3 ambulances. We've only gotten 1 so far. The other 2, the latest we were told is January, hopefully, of 23. But we've been told that's sort of like the taking cash thing. We've been told several dates, so I don't know that that will even happen. The ambulance that was in this year's budget that's been in place now for 6 months, we were told will not be here till January of 24 or later. So no delivery of ambulances that have been ordered for some time in the near future. And in the meantime, we have 3 dead ones and another one in the shop. So, and then also the prices, to give you an example, the van that was in last year's budget, we've been paying $85,000 for. With this Biden inflation that's going on, is now $165,000. The internationals that had been being $170,000 is now $192,000. That's if we can get them and when we can get them. So, in searching around, we went to another company who has 2 they had pre-ordered during COVID, and there's 2 that's scheduled to be finished the end of this year. Hopefully, the 1st of January, we would be able to get these 2 ambulances. And they're total ambulances, they're not re-chassis. It's a total new truck, new box, everything. And the price is, if you cut that in half, I think it's $164,000 each. We're paying more than that for the van ambulances that are on order. So it's not only a good deal, if they live up to their word, we'll get them in January, and we need them desperately. So just so you'll know, I'm updating and making changes to the ARP buckets that was approved by this commission a little over a year ago. You'll have an updated version coming to you next week that I'll be asking you to approve on the 19th so we can send in as our plan of ARP funding, how we're going to spend it. And in those buckets, we're moving money from bucket to bucket. Most of it's things you've already said you wanted to do. And there will be more money put in the COVID bucket, which will allow us to do things like this. So this would be paid for with ARP funding. That resolution and those amendments will come later, but what I need to know now is authority to purchase the 2 ambulances, because the price, they will only hold them for us for 2 weeks, and a week's already passed. So that's why I'm needing the thumbs up from you all tonight, so that we can tell them, put our name on them, we want them as soon as they're ready, we need them, and the price is better than the ones we actually have on order. Does that pretty much explain everything? If you've got questions, though, feel free to ask.
The other 2 that we ordered, you can cancel them, right?
No, the 2 that are coming in January are locked in now, so we're kind of committed to those. Now, if they keep delaying us, possibly, the one that's, the way I explained today, the one that's promised for January of '24, if we like these once we get them, my suggestion is let's work with them for a few months. If we like them, then we could cancel that one, because that's something I failed to mention. They're promised for January of '24, but oh, by the way, we can't give you a price. So I don't even know what the cost of that one's going to be. So I wouldn't hesitate for a minute to cancel that one. These other 2, though, are locked in, and we're pretty much committed to them unless they continue to delay.
We have a motion from Commissioner Blake. Do I have a second? Commissioner Goins?
If I could add, these are General Motors or Chevrolets. They're like the ones that we have before we got the Internationals. We still have some of those on the road, so they will look like those. It's not that we're going backwards, but it's a 3500 General Motors product truck with a complete new box on it. And when you see them on the roads, they'll look like the ones, we already have some of them out there, the older ones look like those.
Any discussion?
These are gasoline, by the way.
And they're gasoline.
They are gasoline. Any other comments, discussion? Call the roll, please.
Goins,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Ledford,
Yes.
Winters.
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Alford.
Yes.
Cry.
Yes.
Blake.
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
It's 13 in favor, none opposed, and 1 absent.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman. And Crystal, next week when I bring them the revised bucket plan, I also need a resolution using ARP, all the ARP jargon in there for the record. It's one of those many things we have to do for ARP funding. So I'll have both of those for you next week. Thank you.
Before we go any farther, I neglected to recognize the former state representative, Mark Hall, and please accept my apologies. I just forget something. We're thrilled to have you here.
Is that glare back there? Is that the glare coming out of
That's
the?
the glare. That light, it's bouncing.
There's a seat still available over there for a while here.
Tonight.
So-
Go back to you, Commissioner Blake.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also, the Finance Committee discussed approving 2 water line extension projects to be funded by the American Rescue Plan Act funds. The cost of both projects will be split equally with Cleveland Utilities per the extension guidelines. Mr. Chairman, the letter that we have from Cleveland Utilities, I'd like to place in the minutes so that we have a record of their agreement. Basically, it's a 50-50 deal that we asked them to go into. This motion, Mr. Chairman, it will take 10 votes. I trust this commission is in favor of water lines. I move to fund the Rakeshaw Road water line extension projects with the American Rescue Plan Act fund at a cost of up to $15,975.50. and the Moore Circle Road project, also with ARP funds, at a cost up to $19,350. I put that in form of motion. Thank you.
Commissioner Hughes, second. Discussion. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Every year, the county determines the amount of fees and fines collected in reserve account 34520 earmarked for the drug and alcohol treatment. Once the amount is determined, our drug court program and misdemeanor program office submit a request for funds. The Finance Committee voted to recommend allocating the first $10,000 of the fund to the State Electronic Monitoring and Contingency Fund and splitting equally the remainder of funds. I put this in the form of motion. Thank you.
Commissioner Winters, second. Discussion, please. No discussion. Commissioner Alford? Oh, okay. No, I had, call the roll, please.
Goins?
Yes.
Slater?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Ledford?
Yes.
Winters?
Yes.
Beatty?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Alford?
Yes.
Cry?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Thompson? Yes. It's 13 in favor, none opposed, and one absent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee also voted to recommend combining the jail telephone and commissary with the workhouse telephone and commissary account lines. This is a back office housekeeping. I'll place this in the form of a motion. Thank you.
I have a second. Commissioner Thompson on the second. Open for discussion. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Goins?
Yes.
Slater? Mason?
Yes.
Ledford?
Yes.
Winters?
Yes.
Beatty?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Alford?
Yes.
Cry?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Thompson? Yes. It's 13 in favor, none opposed, and one absent.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Alford. Great. Commissioner Hughes.
Mr. Chairman, a lot of my thunder was taken away from me from dealing with the landfill, but the other is that as Hopewell went on the Hopewell Highway, I decided to, or actually I worked there that day, so I got to watch the children being released from school that afternoon. Within 15 minutes, all the children were gone, or 15 thereabout, and at no time was any traffic parked on the roadway itself. So I was totally impressed with the way it was moving. They done an excellent job with it. They truly did.
Thank you. We owe an additional thanks, I think, to Volunteer Electric for their cooperation, and the Wright Brothers Construction also. They contributed tremendously. Both of them did. Is that it, Commissioner?
That is it. Thank you.
Commissioner Beatty.
Yeah, I was down at Hopewell too, and I really liked the way they did build it. I think they done a real good job, Wright Brothers and the road department. And it was really interesting. All the kids was waiting at the door, one at one door and one at another, and everything. But it was a joyful day. Thing they did.
Everything. Thank you. I need I'd entertain a motion on the approval of the agenda. Got a first from Commissioner Thompson, second Commissioner Goins. Call the roll, please.
Goins?
Yes.
Slater? Mason?
Yes.
Ledford?
Yes.
Winters?
Yes.
Beatty?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Alford?
Yes.
Cry?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Thompson? Yes. It's 13 in favor, none opposed, and one absent.
Thank you. On agenda item A, as you recall, we received a notice of vacancy of the 6th District Constable seat in early October. We advertised our intent to fill the position this evening and requested interested parties submit their resume to the commission office in advance of this meeting or to bring them tonight to request consideration. To date, we have received 2 requests for consideration. You received previously their resumes electronically, and tonight you have their resumes in your agenda packet. I will recognize these individuals in alphabetical order and provide each of them with 2 minutes or to introduce themselves to us. If you have any questions following their statements, I will recognize you. And I want to emphasize 2 minutes, okay? The first I'm going to ask is Mr. Richard Burnett, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to speak here tonight. My name is Richard Burnett. I live on Dalton Pike, been there around 21 years. My family's owned the property there since in the late 30s, early 40s. People have asked me why I want to serve. The reason I do want to serve is for that very reason, to be a part of my community. I've done things like the president of the Flint Springs Rotary Club. I love my community. One of the great reasons I want to serve are those two little granddaughters sitting right there that go to Waterville and Lake Forest, and that gives me reason. They live in the 6th District, and me and my wife, of course, live there. She's a retired school teacher for 44 years in public schools. I'm a product of the public schools of this area, from Mayfield to Arnold to Cleveland High. It's a good opportunity. I want to serve back in my community any way I can, and if given that opportunity, I'll do the best of my ability to be honest and treat people with respect and do the best job I possibly can if given that opportunity. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Yes, Commissioner Slater.
Thank you, Mr. Burnett, for being here tonight. If you're appointed to this position tonight, you know the rule says that you must run at the next general election. Would you plan to run at the next general election to keep this seat?
At this time, yes, I would.
Commissioner Gilbert.
Mr. Burnett, this affidavit you filled out, is it 100% correct?
Yes, sir.
Is these 336 supporters you got yours?
Yes, yes, they are.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the right? Additional on the left? Thank you very much. Dan Rawls, please come forward, sir.
How y'all doing? Excuse my voice a little bit here. I appreciate the opportunity. The reason I got involved in this initially was that I was concerned with some of the names that had bannered around. We've had a problem in the 6th District at the constable position for quite a long time. We've had some outcomes that weren't positive. I think that I have a history of service in the community, from the helping to found and working with the SPCA, working for people in the community and helping them resolve their issues. I have a legal background through paralegal courses and constitutional courses. I don't have any qualms about serving in the position. I've always tried to serve the community and always tried to do the right thing. I don't carry the water for anyone, and I think that that's my plan. I also think that, in all honesty, that I think Richard is a good guy. Richard and I have worked on different projects together, so there's no. If it had have been just Richard, I may not have. But goal accomplished. But I wish whoever. I think either one will do a good job, and I have there's a positive on both sides. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Hold it just a second, Dan. See if anybody's got any questions for you, Commissioner Slater.
Thank you for being here tonight, Mr. Rawls. I believe this is the first time I've ever seen you with pants on. But,
Wait. Let's clarify.
I've seen
She
you
means
with shorts.
outside of shorts, okay? Like
Correct.
denim shorts or
Correct.
some sort of.
Can we put that in the minutes?
You know what I mean. If you're appointed to this position tonight, y'all know what I mean. Stop it. If you're appointed to this position tonight, as the law says, you have to run in 2 years at the general election. Would you run for that position?
Surely, because that's an obligation you undertake, right?
Thank you, Mr. Rawls.
Are there any other questions? Commissioner Gilbert? Hold it,
Mr.
Dan.
Rouse.
Hold.
Is this affidavit you filled out 100% correct?
Oh, yes, yes.
All the supporters, all of them's your supporters, right?
Yes, yes.
Any other, before you leave, then, any other questions, comments? Now you can make that. Thank you very much. I guess the next question, is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to be considered for this position? I don't see anyone coming forward. We appreciate you offering yourselves, both of you, for service to our county. I now open the floor for nominations. Commissioner Mason.
Chairman, before I make a nomination, I want to say thank you to both the candidates for putting their name out there tonight. I have said from the beginning of being elected to this position, I want to be a voice for the 6th District. I feel like the calls, emails, texts that I've received from the 6th District, I want to nominate Richard Burnett for the next 6th District Constable.
Any other nominations? Are you nominating? Okay, we have Commissioner Dan Rawls nominated. We have Richard Burnett nominated. Are there any other nominations? Call the roll, please.
Chairman Cry, they will need to say the name of the person they wish to nominate.
Right, yes. You.
Not
for. As you come around, give the name of the person that you are voting for.
Ready. Goins,
Richard Burnett.
Slater,
Burnett.
Mason,
Burnett.
Ledford,
Burnett.
Winters,
Burnett.
Beatty,
Burnett.
Hughes,
Burnett.
Alford,
Burnett.
Cry,
Burnett.
Blake,
Burnett.
Collins,
Mr. Burnett.
Gilbert,
Burnett.
Thompson.
Burnett.
It's 13 for Burnett and none for Rawls and one absent.
Congratulations, Constable Burnett. We appreciate your service. We really do. Let's, the next item is communication from the audience. Do I have anyone in the audience? Please come forward, sir.
John Thomason, Bluebird Nature Lane. First, I would like to invite each one of you and all in the audience to come to the Pearl Harbor Day Memorial we have next coming Wednesday, 10 o'clock at the Elks Club. We deserve to commemorate our men that died and lost their lives in this terrible thing that happened out at Pearl Harbor. The second thing is Wreaths Across America will be December 17th at 12 noon at the Bradley County Veterans Cemetery. We've had some wonderful, fantastic sponsorships this year. I'd urge anyone who would wish to come out and honor our veterans by placing a wreath at their grave, or may have family members out there in Fort Hill. We've had some good veterans and volunteers mark the graves of our veterans that we can find and read in the Fort Hill Cemetery with an American flag. So we're asking our good people, volunteers, and members of the citizenry here to go out and honor them veterans too. Thank you so very much. Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
I wanted to say a comment about Mr. Thompson. I served in the National Guard with him from 1981 to 1993. We're going to have our get-together Wednesday. We get together with all the retired guardsmen that we were in the Guard with. Actually, he was in one tank platoon, and I was in the other tank platoon. We got to drive the big 54-ton tanks and load them and fire them and had a good time. This man has served relentlessly the veterans' needs in the cemetery and just all around. We've had several die in the last 2 months. I don't know how many. Larry Fields was one of ours that passed. He was a great man. He served in the Guard with us for years. I think since me and Mr. Thompson have gotten out, I got out in '93, and I'm going to guess, you tell me if I'm wrong, Mr. Thompson, probably out of the unit, 50 to 60 of those gentlemen have passed. And most of those gentlemen served in the Vietnam War. Alvin Jackson, who we just redone his house, or going to redo his home for him, that man served in Vietnam. During the summer camps, you need to hear you some stories about some Vietnam veterans. Alvin Jackson served as a gunner on an APC. There's just a story that no movie can cover. I promise you that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Winters.
Mr. Thompson, I appreciate what you do, because you stood up for veterans when nobody else did. You know, there were times you came up and you talked about several things. Joining you is Mark Hall. Mark Hall represented us to your veterans home that's being built, and you were very much a part of that with your colleagues. That's going to be happening pretty soon, right? When will it open? Oh, okay. Right. Right. Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very welcome. Anything, Mayor?
I just want to say, in addition to former Commissioner Mark Hall and former Commissioner Dan Rawls, we also have former Commissioner Erica Davis with us tonight. So we've got a lot of former commissioners hanging around. That's good. Good to see them all. If she can find the oath, I guess it's okay to say this, Crystal. If she can find the oath, we'll go ahead and get the swearing in done here in just a moment. Is that okay with you? Is that okay with the commission?
That's very appropriate.
Okay. She's looking right now, and she'll know here in just a minute, so we'll get that done immediately following this meeting if she has it.
While we're waiting on that for the oath, I'm going to go ahead and go through the announcements. Work session December the 12th. Yes, go ahead.
I just have a question. According to the way that you handle somebody being recognized, isn't it normally that, according to your policy, that a person who's being recognized, a citizen of this community, is allowed as much time as necessary to present their case? Or was this an exception?
She called me, ma'am, and asked me could she speak for 2 minutes.
2 to 3 minutes.
She said 2 minutes.
Okay, let's put that aside.
She called and asked me to speak for 2 minutes, and I told her
That's
yes.
fine, but it's not according to the rules. So that's what I want to know. Is that according to the rules, or would she, instead of being cut off at 1 minute and 36 seconds, which I clocked, would she not be allowed to continue without being interrupted? Any words on that?
Commissioner Winters.
I believe in regular sessions. We're in regular session now. This is when we have the members of the community to come and speak. They're allowed those 5 minutes plus given. And at the direction of the approval of the chairman, additional time can be given through a general meeting. But with the agenda as it is, the agenda rules the timeline. And the chairman has an opportunity to add additional, which you all did. You gave another 2 minutes or whatever it was to that. So during the regular session, that's offered by a commission member to make that possible. But usually it's very short because we do have an agenda to deal with, a very important agenda that we had here. And in reality, this young lady's candidate got presented before the other candidate was presented. So if you want to really balance it all out, we should have had another. So within the regular session, That is permitted by the chairman. After the regular session, there's a 5-minute, and then it can be added to as well.
Can you let me know would you send me a email and let me know what part of that, we received a policy?
Policy.
And if you can tell me what page that's on, so I can read that through and we can be aware of that.
Right.
Because what it sounds like is if you want to shut somebody down because you don't want to hear what they have to say, you have the option of shutting them down. That's where I'm coming from.
We'll provide you a copy of that.
Oh, I have the whole one. I just need to know what page you're referring to.
There's no movement to shut people down. It's actually giving them a free opportunity, which there normally is not done in the regular session. That is permitted by the chair to do. That's where the chair has the opportunity. That's Robert's Rules of Order, generally as we do. So
Okay,
there's not trying to put people down. It's giving them, as our commissioner shared with his constituent, an opportunity to speak, which she did.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
You and I apparently probably both have apples, but we have different stopwatches. So I won't argue 30 seconds or 20 seconds, but I had the stopwatch going right here, as you probably did. So.
Well, I didn't start mine until she started speaking, so you might have started yours when she got up from her seat. I don't know.
Okay.
But thank you.
Anyone else? All right. We're ready? Let's bring the man in. Come on up, ma'am.
My name is Jessica Hedgecock, and I am in the 4th District. And I just want to go ahead and thank the other commissioner that I had lined up for this evening, because they did the right thing. They said, if that person gives you a problem, you give me a call, and I'll let you speak. And it was not the commissioner that did recognize me. It was a different commissioner. And I'm proud of that person, because at the end of the day, they weren't my district commissioner. And I thank them very much for maybe doing somebody else's job, even if they didn't want to, but because they believed that I had the right to speak. Just because you don't agree with somebody doesn't mean you shut them down. We just want to better our community in Bradley County. Thank you very much. You know who you are. And lastly, just a recommendation for people with septic issues. We just bought our most recent home in Bradley County just under 3 years ago. And we just had it pumped out last month. And the gentleman that came and pumped it out, he said, this home has never been pumped. And I said, are you serious? That's disgusting. And guess what he said? I've been doing this for almost 30 years. And most people don't pump theirs. So we're talking about using taxpayer money to fix the problem when people aren't maintaining it and taking care of it. So maybe that's something to put into the notes for next time, that we can go ahead and, hey, when was the last time that you had your septic pumped? People need to put out the work in order to receive something. If you don't work, you don't eat. We can't just live off of the government. Otherwise, we're going to live in a welfare state. And is that something that you really want to be responsible for? Because at the end of the day, we're going to be living in a trashy place. And Bradley County is better than that, and I expect better from each and every one of you. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Gilbert. Thompson, I'm sorry.
Do you sleep good at night? Well, or do you sit and think what you can say at these meetings? You have opportunity every time, and we've got work sessions 2 times a month, and usually these voting sessions, we have a big agenda, and I don't know why you don't come to the work sessions. And if you're on the agenda or got something to say, then you can do that. But I don't appreciate you saying that. I know who you're pointing to. When you say 4th District, I am 4th District. So, well, I probably want yours. Thank you.
All right, if nothing else, let's get back to business here. Mayor?
Audience, okay. Y'all can This is a long oath, and best I can tell, I'm supposed to read it all, and all you got to do is say I do, or I will. Okay. I, Richard Burnett, do solemnly swear that I will well and truly serve the state of Tennessee in the office of Constable, will cause the peace of the state to be kept to the best of my power, and that I will arrest all persons that go in my sight armed offensively or who commit any riot, affray, or other breach of the peace, and will use my best endeavor on complaint made to apprehend all felons, rioters, or persons riotously assembled. And if such persons flee or make resistance, I will pursue and make hue and cry according to law, and that I will faithfully and without delay execute and return all lawful process directed to me, and that I will well and truly, according to my power and ability, do and execute all other duties of the office of Constable. I do solemnly swear to support the constitutions of Tennessee and of the United States.
I do.
Subscribed and sworn me this 5th day of December 2022, D. Gary Davis, Bradley County Mayor. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You need to sign.
Thank you, commissioners, for giving me this opportunity, and I will do my best to not let you down and uphold the laws and do the best job that I possibly can. Thank you for your support. Thank you most of all for my family and friends that are here.
Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to address that one issue that's a legitimate issue that the young lady brought up. TDEC is going to be a part of this septic tank repair. They already are in a way. We're just up and out with the funding. If that scenario was to exist, TDEC would not qualify under the guidelines under TDEC. So that's been thought of. I agree with you 100%. If there's been no effort, not even lifting a finger to take care of yourself, then you're probably going to be a no-go with this program. Yeah.
If I could,
Yeah, that was.
If I could add, first of all, TDEC has to say that it's a failing system. And I can use myself as an example. I don't pump my septic tank. If your fill lines are working, you don't have to pump your septic tank. You put the stuff in there once every 3 months, and if it's a working system, it works. If TDEC comes along and says you have a failing system, sewage running out in the ground or whatever, they declare that it's a failing system. That qualifies it for the program.
Right. So. Right, and right, very good. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
The work session.
Keep rolling. Yes, sir. It's rolling. Sometimes it's over us. Sometimes it's under us.